Hello, I'm Dahl Russell, and today I get to share with you my talk about the charming suite by Maurice Ravel, Ma Mère Loi, the Mother Goose Suite. Maurice Ravel lived from 1875 to 1937. Ravel was from a family of generations of sailors and fishermen from the Basque region of France on his mother's side. His father was a Swiss engineer who was also a gifted amateur musician and his first teacher. At the age of 14, he was admitted to the Paris Conservatory and stayed there for 15 years as a student. One teacher said he was the single most gifted student in counterpoint that he had ever taught. Let's take a moment to really think about what it means when an already gifted student musician spends that much time in an environment that rich in talent and influence. He became one of the minority that is a subset within an even smaller subset. I have a Russian friend who is a pianist, Luba Paskova, who asked me to listen to something she was trying out for a recital. It was her own improvisation arrangement of two works by Tchaikovsky and Shostakovich. It was brilliant, literate and fun, and then it even had some Scott Joplin mixed into the middle. She was concerned because she had played it for two people who didn't like it, didn't really understand what she was doing with it, and I had to say to her, first we have the group that likes and knows classical music. Within that, we have the group that likes and knows Shostakovich. Then an even smaller group that knows Shostakovich's piano music. Then an even smaller group that understands the concept of a conversation between two works, not just an interplay, but an extrapolation of the two works. So it's a small audience that is going to understand and appreciate all of that. And I said to her, the two people that you played this for are not that. And I asked, do they even know Shostakovich's music? No. But we also knew that she was going to be playing with the music faculty and for music students. And for some of them, it would be a revelation. And then for others, they'll understand it, and they'll understand the brilliance of what she was doing. And this was precisely why she should perform it for a faculty recital, which she did. And it was marvelously received. She is an excellent pianist. My point is that this kind of subset within a subset, even a subset of musicians, this level of musical thought and integration, this is who Ravel was and who he became by a very young age. He had a deep knowledge and appreciation of the classics and classical construction. And Ravel was also influenced by his friend and fellow student, Erik Satie. While Satie's works were called trash by the establishment, his friendship with Satie and the influence of Satie produced works by Ravel that one teacher called, quote, a conflict between scholarly severity and bold exploration, unquote. That phrase, a conflict between scholarly severity and bold exploration, we could also call it a contrast and a synthesis of these, marks the entirety of Ravel's work. So by staying at the conservatory for that length of time, we get to see and hear in his music this dense complexity. This is what we call complexity of musical thought. We can see it in his chord structures on the page, and we can hear it in the flow of dissonance and harmony, not just within one melodic line, but within measures. This is part of what makes Ravel's works challenging, especially compared to the works of, say, Mozart or Haydn, who have a simplicity of thought and a clarity of melodic line, and that's what they were striving for, a real clarity and simplicity, kind of like crystalline glass. But that's not what Ravel has. Playing Ravel is not for the faint of heart. Ravel's complex way of thinking about music was reflected in his personality and his musical styles, which can be broken into 4 basic types: music influenced by Spain, waltzes, satirical music, and the piece that I'm speaking about today, music infused with his love of fantasy and the worlds of children and animals. He was known to have doted on his group of Siamese cats. They were known to be always around him, on his lap or on his table, even as he composed. Friends would tell about how he would talk to his cats in cat language, and that he would romp and play with his cats and with children as if he were a child himself. He had a lifetime fascination with mechanical toys, and in lighter moments it was said that he gave the impression of a boy who had never grown up. He would interrupt a serious conversation by cocking his head to the side and making a bird call. Ravel's musical friend and biographer, Roland Manuel, described him, quote, "He had more frankness than elegance, more courtesy than cordiality, more sociability, more humor than abandon, more devotion to friendship than indulgence in camaraderie, and more ingenuousness than anything else." The work we're going to hear today, the Mother Goose Suite, was written first as a piano duet for 2 children, 2 very gifted children they must have been. It is often played today by adult concert pianists in concert. This is one composition that critics sometimes felt was derivative of Debussy, who was also known for a similar blend of classical technique and rule-breaking. Faure was one of Ravel's last teachers, and through the influence of Faure, whose works have a similar misty quality of the works of Debussy, we can see a direct line in this sound world of French composition. And all 3 of them are known for what is called the French sound. This misty, dreamy quality is, of course, perfect for settings about fairy tale characters and the worlds of fantasy. Ravel saw the popularity of this work immediately and converted the piano duets into an orchestral ballet score in 1912. The orchestral suite, which I gave this talk to introduce, grew out of that ballet score. Quite simply, the Mother Goose Suite speaks to the child in all of us and the dreams and hopes that live on in even the most hardened of hearts.